Greetings! Iain from RTO here. Welcome to another Marathon Wednesday. And today, this is a request from Mastermind Dave. We have to let him now and again have what he wants because he does so much good work behind the scenes on the channel. And he's asked for Gordon Giltrap. Now, I've heard of Gordon Giltrap, mostly for one song called Heart Song, which for the uneducated and the people that are of an age, it was the theme to ITV's holiday programme. I've got a Christmas album by him, and that's about my collection. So this has been a real eye-opener for me to have a really good listen to Gordon Giltrap. Now, on my research for this, some of the albums are out of print and they're just not available to even stream on any of the streaming companies that I use. So I found one or two tracks, but I haven't been out. Some of the albums I haven't been able to give a proper listen to, and that's why they are at the bottom of the ranking, because I can't really put it any higher because I don't know. So he's released lots of albums and collaborations. So what I've done, I've split it into two. We're going to look at his official solo stuff this week, and we'll look at some of his collaborations next week, because we'll be here forever. Okay, he's been described as one of the most revered guitarists of his generation, and has drawn praise from fellow musicians including Steve Rothery, Jimmy Page and Ritchie Blackmore. Now, Gordon's career started in the 1960s, performing in the folk music scene in London alongside people such as Burt Youngs, John Rayburn and Mike Oldfield. And at 18, Giltrap was signed to Transatlantic Records, and he is also an holder of the MBE for his services to music. He's released 19 solo albums, so we'll have a look at these albums. So coming in at number 19, we get a 1969 and Portrait. I think this was his second album, and this is one of them albums that's not in current streaming or anywhere. It's just not available. But I have found just the one track on here. I'll go through the tracks. There's the Portrait, Thoughts in the Rain, Never Ending Solitude, Tuxedo, all characters fictitious. And there is one track that there is on this that is available, and it's called Lucifer's Cage. It's on compilations, and there's two versions of this. There's a more rocky one, and this one is an acoustic version of it, and it's a pretty good track. You know, this was written by a young 18-year-old. Absolutely fantastic. Careful As You Go, Free for All, William Taplin, Hands of Fate, Confusion and Young Love. So at the bottom, because I can't rank it, so I'm just going to give it a 1 out of 10 for the Lucifer's Cage, for the track that's on it. Okay, then coming in at number 18, we have an album called Giltrap, and on here it's Gordon Giltrap on guitar and vocals, and he's got Douglas Wotton on lute, Rod Sleeping on percussions and things, Joseph Sleeping, and Nico McBrain, yes, Nico McBrain on drums. Now, I didn't know that Nico McBrain played on this until I found it, and this album is around. So there's one or two tracks on here again that I can only tell you about because the others are just nowhere to be found. So the first track on this one is called When I See My Son. Nice track. It's just weird knowing that there's Nico McBrain on the percussion. It's a really nice track. Then we get Far Beyond, Touch and Sound, Royal William and Passing of a Queen. Now, Passing of a Queen is this folky medieval that's got lutes and mandolins and some very medieval percussion. Really nice track. I like that track. It's my favourite out of the ones on this that I can tell you about. I See a Road, The Loser, Wide-Eyed, A Miracle, Spellbrook Meadow, and the other one is called No Way of Knowing, another really folky song. I quite like it. So there's three tracks on here that I've listened to, so I'm going to give that 3 out of 10. A point for each song. Okay, now coming in at number 17 is his debut album, which is available. It came out in 1968. It's got Gordon Giltrap on guitar vocals, with Del Newman on keyboards and Chris Lawrence on the bass. First song on this one is called Gospel Song. This is a real funky guitar here from Gordon, and it just shows what a great guitarist he is. He's not the best singer, but it's a very folky song and it's pretty decent. Fast Approaching. I never knew that one man on a guitar could make it talk like it did. It's absolutely stunning. It's very short but stunning. Don't You Feel Good? Nothing wrong with this one. It's just a nice, pleasant track, and you know, from a really good guitarist. Birth of Spring, more good guitar work from Gordon. It's very pleasant to listen to. Won't You Stay a While, Suzanne? This has got a lyric. It's a nice lyric. Again, some very nice playing. Adolescent Years. Now this is my favourite track on here. It's got, like, I think this has got a bit of overdub guitar on it, but you just don't know with Gordon. He's such an incredible thing. Even the vocals sound nice, and it's a really good song. Saturday Girl, another of these little short folky songs. Don't You Hear Your Mother's Voice? Love the guitar work on this, but not keen on the vocal. Ives Horizon. It's got that Seekers feel to it. I'm out half expecting Judith Durham to pop up and sing. Really good. Then we get Blythe Hill. And what I like about this, I like it when you get a guitar player that plays and he taps as well, creating his own percussion. Excellent little track. Then we got Willow Pattern. Pleasant enough, but it's a bit of poetry. That's alright. This isn't a bad album, actually. It's a nice acoustic folk album. You know, for an 18-year-old to come up with this sort of thing, it's pretty good. His singing is not as good, and it's okay. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 4.5. Now, coming at number 16 is an album that I've got. And it's called A Midnight Clear. And it was out in 1987. And it's Gordon Giltrap on acoustic guitar keyboards, with Bimbo Acock on sax and flute, and Rick Saunders on the violin. And it's basically a Christmas album. And I'm not going to go too much into this because it'll be featured on a programme for Christmas week. So he does renditions of We Three Kings of Orient Are, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, O Little Town of Bethlehem, I Saw Three Ships Come Sailing In, The Holly and the Ivy, Past 3 o'clock, Ding Dong Merrily on High, O Come Ye Faithful, The First Noel, O Come Emmanuel in the Bleak Winter, and another rendition of We Three Kings. And so all I'm going to say about this is a really good Christmas song album, and it's one that I've had for a little while. So I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10, and we'll talk about more of that on another show. Okay then, coming in at number 15, we got a 2020 now, and an album called Woman, and it's this album that he made that inspired that women in history that have inspired him, including his wife. So the first track on here is called One for Billy. It's a really nice guitar, and it's a delight to listen to. The Anafantasia, there's a lot of echo and reverb on this, So he plays a string and it goes on and on and on, and I like it, that sort of sound on a guitar. It makes it feels like that there's more than one person playing. Really good. Then he's got a little troupe called M's Tune, really pleasant tune. Simply Margaret. It is just a very simple song with a nice melody. It's really nice again. Then we get Kaz. Now this is my favourite. There's a little bit of keyboards and a little tinkle of bells on this. It's a nice track. Which also appears on another album. But this is a better version. Sadie in May. I think you can always tell a really good guitarist how well they play an acoustic guitar. And it's pretty good. Fiona's Smile. Nothing wrong with this. It's all really pleasant tracks. Paula's Passion. Another one of my favourites. I like that. I've seen videos of him and the way he plays. He's one hand's doing the plucking, and this one is the one that plays the fretboard. He's twiddling all over the place. He's amazing to watch. Prayer for Philippa, one of my favourite tracks on here because it's also got some flute in it, and I think the guitar and flute always work well together. Rachel's Reflections, again, it's just a very nice solid track. Lauren, a track that will appear on other albums. It's really moody and atmospheric. The Stars Look Down on Linda. I just love that. It's a sound like there is a word for it where you don't put your fingers on the fret fully. Now my brother would have he knows all the technical stuff, but it's that little. It makes that sound, that sort of numbing sound. It's wonderful. I love that sound. Maddie Goes West. There's a few guitars on here and another track that will appear on numerous occasions during this ranking. Anya's Dream, a solid track, some keyboards and flute, another of my favourites. This is a really nice album again. It's one of them albums you can put on and you can just drift away. Really enjoyed listening to this one. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.3. Okay then, coming in at number 14, we go to 1971 now, and an album called A Testament of Time. Gordon's on the guitars, of course. Dale Newman's back on the keyboards and Chris Lawrence on the bass. First track on this one's called Starting All Over. I love the start of this. There's a lot of guitar string bending on this, and it's actually a really nice vocal from Gordon. His singing certainly got better since them early days. Candlelight Lady, a very short piece of guitar work from Gordon. Some nice strings accompanying him on that one. Harlequin, another instrumental, just showing off his skills on picking the strings, bending the strings. Really, really good. And then you get some strings come in towards the end and finishes the track. Really good. Gypsy. It's a very gentle track with a little bit of tambourine and flute. Very delicate stuff. Then we get my favourite track on here. It's called Catwalk Blues. It's a very bluesy sort of thing played on an acoustic guitar. Now it reminds me of the blues that was played by Robert Johnson, you know, just on the single guitar. It's a really good track. Lady J, really good track. There's some string arrangements and piano accompanying Gordon on that. Pretty good. Then we get The Entertainer. It's got that medieval feel to it. It's really good. I like that one. And then we got Gethsemane. It's a little track about the Easter story. It's really good. Told in a folky way. Cycle, nothing wrong with that. Solid track. King's Ransom. Strings on this really well work well with Gordon's guitar playing. Really adds a little bit of texture. Yeah, not a bad album. This is where going through the history and that. This is where we started add a little bit more to it. The strings and pianos and flutes. It's a really nice album, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.5. Time for some Jaffa Cake coffee. Okay then, coming in at number 13, we go to 2002 now, and an album called Under This Blue Sky. Joining Gordon on here, and Gordon plays guitars with Kevin Dempsey and Iain, who's he's played with before, and he also plays a bit of synthesizers as Gordon. Got some keyboards from Jonathan Miller, and the flute, this is Hilary Ash Roy. First track on here is a title track called Under This Blue Sky. It's a real nice track. I love the flute in this. Hilary Ash Roy, I've heard her on one or two bits. She's a fine flautist, and it's a really good track. I like that one. Then we get Sing a Song a Sixpence, and yes, it is Sing a Song a Sixpence, the nursery rhyme, and it's a great little version. Goes back to my childhood, because when he's playing it, you've got the words going through your head. It's not a bad version. Then we get a track called Here Comes the Sun, and it is a lovely version of the Beatles track played on acoustic guitar. Excellent. Then at Giltrap's Bar, bit of a jiggy track. They will be talking about this a few times. This is a pretty good version of it. Then we got Chamber Tin. Like the guitar work on here, you can tell there's the three of them playing on this. Absolutely brilliant. The Picnic certainly captures that mood of a summer's day picnic. Some lovely flute work. The Racer, one of my favourite pieces on here, So Gentle. Then we get Pedrolino, my favourite track on the album. The flute again is wonderful. Then we get another version of Kaz. This is the better version because it's got the flute on it. It's really, really nice. Crossing the Border. I love the rhythm guitar on this, and then you've got the flute and the lead guitar. Very nice. Secret Valentine, another track that will appear throughout. It's a nice track. Fell Runner, love the melody on this one. Really catchy little melody. And then Winter Dance, the echo again is wonderful. And then you've got them little delicate touches on the guitar. I think Gordon Giltrap is the equivalent of Rick Wakeman. But of course, Gordon plays guitar, and he sets the moods for these songs. Just like Rick does on piano, Gordon's the same on guitar, and this is a really nice album, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.6. Coming in number 12 then, let's go to 2007, and it's called Secret Valentine. It's a studio album, and it's a collection of 15 of Giltrap's favourite romantic pieces that's recorded entirely on the Revolutionary Cool Acoustics guitar, hybrid acoustic guitar. Some of these are some of his, so it's basically him doing like a covers album of his own stuff. We got Maddie's Goes West on here again, a pretty good version on this. Under the Blue Sky is, having recorded this again, you can tell the difference between this revolutionary guitar. He's a little bit more clearer. It's really crisp. Simply Margaret's on here again, very pleasant tune, and you know, with this new guitar sounds good. Kaz with this new revolutionary guitar really is changed the tone. Picnic, no flute on this time, but it sounds great with on here on its own. Then we get Elegy, Death of Chatterton, which is another track we'll talk about later, and it's really good on here. Down the River, another track we'll hear more about. Good. Angel Tarn, really good. Christmas Carol's really good. The Sheep's, The Lord's Sheep, Prayer for Philippa really sounds different on here. Isabel's Wedding, really nice track. The Echo Green and London and Secret Valentine. Okay, you can tell the difference with this guitar, as they sound really crisper. It's really enhanced the album, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.7. Okay, then coming in at number 11, we go to 2010 now, and an album called Shining Morn. I think this has just got Gordon on it, and opens up with a track called Shining Morn. Once again, some lovely guitar work, crisp guitar playing from Gordon. Rachel's Reflections, very pleasant. Prayer for Philippa. This has got a bit of flute. Don't know who plays the flute, but it's lovely. $5 guitar. What I like about this guitar piece, it's more than, it sounds like more than one guitarist, but I don't think it is, because there's lots of echo. Really good little track. Lazy Sunday, a very moody piece of music. Really good. Simply Margaret again, very nice. Then we get Joyride, my favourite piece on this. Some little jolly flute on this, it's fantastic. Ladies of Lichfield, certainly got that medieval Renaissance feel to it. Excellent track. The Passing of a Queen. This was on that one of them early albums, and I think this is a better version. It is really good. The Dodo's Dream. Now, this is a bit too long. It's 7 minutes. When you got just one guitar, if it's a piece where there's other instruments, it's okay. But here in 7 minutes of just one guitar, it's a little bit monotonous. But there is another version of that which is much better. M's Tune, another of them little moody tracks he does. A tapestry of tears. I think Gordon Giltrap could have gone into Sky, because he just plays like John Williams. It's a great track. Forever Gold, I love the little chunky guitar and the little bit of percussion that you get from tapping the guitar. Really good. Fair Light Down, we got the flute on here, and it's absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Hilary Ash Roy, to be quite honest, but there's no mention of her on the credits. Night, it gives you that feel. Interpretation is night time. It's very gentle. Tiggy's Tune, just a little 1 minute ditty, and then we get -1, and really nice piece of gentle music. Ives Horizon, another version of this, but what you can tell on this, that this was on one of the 70s albums, and he's sort of, you can tell how he's developed as a guitar player. Excellent track. Paula's Passion, you can see why a lot of the great guitarists like him. This is just a technical stuff. Then we got Roseberry Topping, one of them tracks that feels like there's more than one guitar. The Ring of Kerry, certainly got that feel, Celtic feel. Very good. Tears of Joy, a nice gentle track. And then Shining Morn again, but this time he's got a piano player, and it's called Rick Wakeman. Great version of that. It's nice to see the two, because they are both good friends, and it's seen two masters at their trade. Very consistent album. The highlight for me, though, is the little piece he does with Rick. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 10, we have an album from 2003 called Remember This. This is basically little bits of music from the past. And on here we've got electric guitar on Substitute is Neville Martin. The flute on Minuet is Hilary Ash Roy. Keyboards on Isabel's Wedding is Rick Wakeman, along with Down the River. And then Gordon plays every other instrument. Multi-talented Mr. Giltrap. First track is called, now I've got to get this, Appalachian Dreaming. I love this, that echo on the guitar. Then he does another rendition of Here Comes the Sun, really good. And then we get Jesu Joy of Man Desires. I'm so used to hearing this on a church organ or a piano, but this is absolutely brilliant. You've got a little bit of piano, you've got a bit of flute and some lovely guitar work. It's a really nice version of that. Then we got Nuage, yes, a nice little track. Now we got Substitute, and you never thought you'd hear the Who's Substitute played like that. Then you get Minuet, the Bark from Bark. Really good interpretation on the guitar like that. Lady Nothing. It's just it's a Burt Jansch song, and it's just, I've heard his version and it just takes these songs very simple on the guitar, absolutely wonderful. Then we get Layla, and he's really stripped this down, and it proves what a good melody it was. It's a great version. Then we get Romancer. Now this is one of my favourite pieces of guitar, classical guitar pieces. I've got it by John Williams, and Gordon's is good. Then we get Summer Holiday. Yes, we're all going on a summer holiday, and it's a quirky little stripped down version of the song. Scarlet Ribbons, from a popular song from the music was written by Jack Siegel, and it's been on quite a few Christmas albums. It's not too bad. Then we get a cover of the Beatles' If Fell. Great song, and it's totally changed it. It's a wonderful piece. Then we get Bury, a piece of music, of course, Jethro Tull have done on the flute, and this is on the guitar. It's very nice. London Derriere, that's a wonderful piece. Isabella's Wedding, again, what Rick on it, excellent stuff. Down the River, which is actually a traditional Christian folk song, and again he's got Rick Wakeman doing the business on the ivories. A very consistent album. Love his collaborations with Rick Wakeman again, and he's just reinvented old songs. So I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 6.1. Time for another sip. Okay, then coming in at number 9, we go to 1998 now, an album called Troubadour, and on this, there's some interesting people on this one. We've got Gordon Giltrap on acoustic guitar. Now, guest vocalist on here is a certain Mr. Clifford Richard. Del Newman's back on vocals and string arrangements. We've got Jack Rothenstein on violin, Majak Rajansky on violin, Boguslav Krosketsky on violin, Dave Nolan on violin, Georgia Robinson on viola, Peter Lale on viola, Tony Pleath cello, Paul Kegg on cello, Chris Lawrence is back on the bass. We've got Mike Britton doing some bass as well, Andy Finden on the flute, Frank Lloyd on the horn, and Dirk Campbell on the Ulanium pipes. First track on here is called A Misunderstood Man. Really nice track. Very chamber music, very good. Rain in the Doorway, love the crisp notes on the guitar on this, really good track. On Camber Sands, I like that, really good. Lord Seats again, it's got such a medieval feel to it. Roman Kite's jolly little tune. Who Knows Where Tomorrow Goes, another little song. Isabella's Wedding again, it's a nice version of that. Quest for No Such, lovely guitar touches on this. A Dublin Day, my favourite track. The acoustic guitar on this is fantastic. Yet another version of Down the River. We have a very shortened version of The Picnic. Daisy Chain, it sort of picks up from where Picnic stops. That really adds to it, some lovely strings on this. Nursery Chimes, I love the delicate stuff on this. Really nice. The Kerry Dancers, nice tune, but there's so much going on the end, it goes on a little bit too long for me. Again, an accomplished album. There's some just great playing. There's some really nice tunes on this again. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.2. Okay then, coming in at number 8, we've got a 1995 now, and an album called Music for the Small Screen. So you got Gordon Giltrap on here, and you got some interesting people on this. Steve Howell, Midge Ure, Rick Wakeman, Neil Murray and Brian May. Not a bad little bunch of musicians to help out. First song is Heart Song, which is the song that everybody knows, and this is a really rocky version of Heart Song. Got a little bit of beef. The Last of England. Now this is a track that we'll talk about more next week. It's one of his collaborations, but again this has been rocked up a little bit. Some nice keyboard work here from Rick. Excellent stuff. Shady Tales. What a bass line. That's brilliant. It's going to be Mr. Murray. The Lord's Seat. Now I think this is the first album that this actually appeared on. It's appeared on so many albums, and it's a really good version. Some nice guitar work. Sounds like Steve Howell. Holiday Romance. A lovely piece of guitar again. Again, I think this is Steve and Gordon. Unbroken Promise. Violin is superb on this. The flute as well. Brutus. This is my favourite track. Sounds like a Sky track. Again, I think the guitar again is Steve Howell. The Carnival. It's a really good song. Some, you know, when you got these musicians on it, it's going to be good. Hold the Back Page. Oh, Rick and Steve, it's got that yes connection. Very, very good. Hold the Back Page. Another good. I've just said that. Sunburst. I don't know how much Rick Wakeman had of influence on this track, because it sounds like what he was doing on his solo stuff. Revelation Highway. Brian May. You know he's playing on it. You know that red special guitar. Anywhere. Indomitable, a very short piece, some great prog on this, very, very good. In Unison, again a little bit proggy. You got Gordon and Steve having a good time. Then we get Lucky, a solid track. I love this album. It's got some great musicians on it, and you can pick each one out what they're doing. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.3. Coming in at number 7 then, we got a 1987 and an album called Elegy, or Eagly. Don't know how you pronounce that one. First track is In Unison. It's a shame we can't find out who's playing on this, because there is no other people. We know it's Gordon. Really good version of this song. It's appeared on 2 or 3 albums. A Christmas Carol. I think this is the first time this appeared on this. It's really good. It's a really good little Christmassy song. The Mariner's Tale. Definitely got that seafair sort of Tales of the Sea on it. Really good. Blue Lady. I love how you get the echo on this. Then we get Lucky. Start again. Blue Lady, I love the echo on this. And Lucky, the next track, it's a jolly sort of quirky track with them space sounds. I think it's played on an Ovation guitar. I'm not an expert in guitars, but I reckon it is. Then we get the title track, Elegy, or it's not Eulogy, it's Elegy or something. Nice track, extra depth with the keyboard, spring dance, a short piece, very pleasant. The Poacher. Now this is my favourite song. Very intricate piece with some lovely guitar work. Sally's Song, a mixture of guitars on here. Very Mike Oldfield. Really good. Storm Brewing, another nice little short piece of music. Downwind. What can you say about it? It's just gentle guitar. Really good. Sleuth. Really good player. It's great. Gordon Giltrap is such a master on the guitar. Very good album, because it's all very short pieces. The longest one on here is about 4.5 minutes. It's short, sharpy, punchy guitar pieces, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Coming in number 6 then, going to 1984 now, and an album called In At The Deep End. This is Gordon Giltrap guitars, Chaz Cronk on the bass, and Clive Bunker from Jethro Tull on the drums. Breaking Free. Love the guitar work in this. Very good. I just love the melody on that. Castles in the Air. Another superb track. I've just enjoyed listening to this acoustic guitar work from Gordon. Leprechaun, some interesting bits on this. Got a great bass line from Chaz. Then you get these keyboards, and then a bit of mandolin. It's very Celtic, or as I call it, diddly diddly music. It's really good. 12-string serenade, as it says on the tin. It's a serenade played on a 12-string guitar. Very nice. Sundancer, another very delicate track. Drifter, love his playing on this. Very simple, that's what makes him so good. Ragdolls, we've got some other guitar bits on here. The acoustic rhythm, really sharp track. Then we got Antiques and Curious. The sound on this sounds really warbled. I don't know what they were trying to do, but all is forgiven because the next track is Antiques and Curious B, and it sounds a lot better. They've took off the warble, and it's a nice little ditty. Then we got Carry the Torch. Now this is really upbeat for Gordon. It's got a bit of a beat to it. It's a nice little track. Child's Play, again, I like this. It's a very short piece, but some delicate guitar work, which is really nice. To Stand and Say, more of this pleasant guitar plucking, really good. Impulse, this is very, very similar to Heart Song. It's quite a good track. Old Friends is the next track, very short again. There's some pleasant guitar work again. Thoughtful, little bits of guitar. It's 1 minute 13. It's just little bits and bobs. Free Ride, again. These are all really nice tracks. Twilight, very atmospheric. Look Back, very acoustic. The tempo is really good. And to end the album, we have Lonely Road, which is a nice, gentle song. Yet another good album of guitar playing. You never thought that one man could really get so much out of a guitar. No wonder people think he's a genius, because he is. And I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Coming in at number 5, we get a 1979 and an album called The Peacock Party. Again, there's quite a lot of people on here. Gordon's doing acoustic and electric guitars on this one, and we've got Roger Hand on string and brass arrangements, Rod Edwards on keyboards and string and brass again, Eddie Spence on the keyboards, Richard Harvey is on recorder, soprano, drumhorn, Bimbo Aycock on sax, flute and clarinet, Rick Saunders on the violin, John G. Perry on the bass, John Gustafsson on the bass, he gets around a bit, Ian Mosley on the drums, and Maurice Pert on percussion. Yeah, Ian Mosley, he must have been a very young man when he done this in 1979. First track on here is called Headwind the Eagle. This is one of the first Gordon Giltrap albums that I've found some rocky stuff on it, and all of a sudden you can tell who's drumming on it. Iain Mosley, love the track. Magpie Rag, definitely got a bit of a Celtic ring to this. The keyboards are really good. It's great bass line from John G. Perry, excellent track. Then we got Hocus Pocus, another track that's got a great bass line, sounds like something that Sky could have done. Turkey Trot, a country bluff, interesting track here. It's got a jiggy feel on it, and then you get a bit of trumpet. You got everything on this, really good. Taylor Bird, a nice quirky track. I like the interplay here between the guitars and the piano. Black Rose the Raven, another of those tracks where you've got strings, guitar working well together, gives the track some depth. Birds of a Feather, one of John Gustafson's great bass lines. Always tell when John's playing on it, because it's got that jazzy sort of feel to it. And he works well with Iain Mosley. Again, the drums are fantastic on this. Then we get Jester's Jig. He's a little jig. More great stuff between the keyboards and guitars. Another drum beat, and I think this may be Maurice Pert, he's got that real Celtic. Gypsy Lane, great bass line, really adds to this, that bendy bass and some nice strings. Party Piece, the drumming on this is absolutely stunning, and considering that Iain Mosley was very young, absolutely brilliant drummer, very underrated drummer, and I've always said that. Then we get Chancellor, little quirky thing, and the arrangement is great, the bass line is brilliant. Then we get Dodo's Dream. Now, the acoustic version is a little bit strange, but when you put a full orchestra with some guitars, keyboards, a little bit of flute, it's really good. And this is my favourite track on here. It's the best track and the best version on that he's done. I think this is a really good album. You know, I think this is the earliest album I've heard Iain Mosley play on, and it's a great album. And I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, then coming in at number 4, got an album from 1982 called Airwaves, which features, apart from Gordon, Clive Bunker's back on the drums, Steve Hackett's on here, and Bimbo Aycock. First track on here is called Black Lightning. Really got that 80s vibe to it with that keyboards, really good. El Greco, certainly not the first time we've had a bit of El Greco mentioned on this channel, and it is a very Greek sort of feel to it, really good. Heroes, this is the sort of thing I think you would hear on a Rick Wakeman album. It's excellent. The flute is really good, and the keyboard's fantastic. Haunted Heart, what a nice combination of the guitar and piano and a bit of sax thrown in. Solid track. Now that'll be Mr. Aycock playing the sax on that. Rain Bells, very quirky track. You feel that it's rain coming down. Absolutely brilliant. Dream Teller, this is my favourite track on here. Such a relaxing piece of music, and the saxophone is just fantastic. Reaching Out, a track with lots of nice keys and guitars and flute. Sad Skies, and as it is, it's a very solemn piece of music, really moody and gentle. Excellent. Airwaves, very 80s, got a really good beat and melody to it actually. I quite like that. Empty, some lovely guitar playing again here from Gordon. Lake Isle, those combinations of flute and acoustic guitar, wonderful again. Lost Love, very moody and atmospheric piece. The saxophone on here is just absolutely wonderful. This is an excellent album again. Some great musicians on here. It's a very strong album, different moods and tempos. It's a good album with a mixture of really good songs on this one, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, we're coming to the top 3 now. These albums, I'm going to admit that I've never heard them up until I did this, but boy, they're only on my iPod now. These 3, and they are a bit. They're a trilogy. They're on my iPod now, and I listen to these quite a lot. I love listening to these 3 albums now. So coming in at number 3, we go to 1978, an album called Fear of the Dark, and this is the last of the trilogy that started with Visionary, continued with Perilous Journey. On here we've got Gordon Giltrap on acoustic and electric guitars, Rod Edwards on the keyboards, John G. Perry on the electric bass, Simon Phillips, someone else that appears on this channel a lot, on drums, and we've got Tony Carr on percussion, Roger Hand is on here, Clive Bunker's back doing a little bit, Graham Prescott's on the violins, and Shirley Rodden on vocals. Side 1 of this album is Roots Part 1 and 2. I love this. Part 1 is more of a bluesy sort of song, and then it goes into this ambient sound, some lovely soothing vocals, voices. It's not vocals, it's more of a voice, that Enya sort of thing. It's a fantastic track. Night Rider, great track, atmospheric. I love when the tempo builds up. It's very progressive rock. The drumming on this is fantastic. In a Dream, again, it's one of them vocal tracks. It's not singing, it's that sort of harmonising vocal sounds. Really adds extra depth to this. It's superb. Weary Eyes, first real proper track with a vocal, and it's quite good. It's got a really good guitar solo from Gordon though, brilliant. Then we get Fast Approaching. This is a great track that Clive Bunker plays the percussion on as well. Really adds to it, his delicate touches, some lovely acoustic guitar, and stunning the bits Gordon did on the electric guitar. Absolutely brilliant. Melancholy Lullaby, it's a lovely lullaby with a few strings, really nice. Then we get my favourite track on here. It's called Fear of the Dark. How, again, the playing on this is absolutely brilliant. It's very sort of a progressive track as well. Fantastic. Some great musicianship on that. Visitation, my favourite second track on here. Towards the end, it just builds up, and this is where you decide that Gordon can play a mean electric guitar as well, and the vocal is fantastic again. It's a fantastic way to end the album. This is one of them albums and I keep playing, as I said, some great progressive rock on this, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 2, 1976 now, and an album called Visionary. The music is inspired by the words of poet William Blake. Side 1 by the illustration of the Day of Judgment and the poem The Last Judgment. Side 2 by the poems and illustrations as titled. So on here we've got Gordon Giltrap, as usual. Rod Edwards is on it, J.G. Perry, Simon Phillips is on the drums, we've got R.W. Hudson on the trumpet, Henry Lowther on trumpet, Chris Pine on trombone, Chris Mercer on the saxophones, Jeff Daly's on a baritone saxophone, and we've got percussion from Roger Hand, Tony Carr, and Shirley Rodden's back on the vocals. Awakening. The start of this, you get the sort of this tapping percussion, and the guitars get louder and louder. Then you get these little dashes of keyboard, really mixture. I'd say very yes. Very, very good track. Robes, and Clowns. It's just a little short piece, the continuation from Awakening. Some lovely little gentle guitar pieces on here. From the Four Winds, some lovely acoustic guitar on this, and then you get the orchestral sound coming in. Wonderful little track. Then we get Lucifer's Cage. Now, we've talked to this at the beginning. It's an acoustic, and this is brilliant. This is a great version of it, and there's a version of it on that was recorded on the Old Grey Whistle Test, which is unbelievable. This is a full band behind it. It's brilliant, excellent track. Revelation, it's got the eerie keyboard on this at the beginning, very atmospheric. Then the piano comes in, and to top it off, a great little guitar solo from Gordon. The Price of Experience, an orchestral piece that could have come straight out of the Journey of the Centre of the Earth. And you get this lovely guitar plucking halfway through from Gordon, really good track. The Dance of Albion, it's got that Renaissance feel to this. It sounds something like Blackmore's Night, which we covered on Monday. And considering Richie is a big fan of Gordon, you can see where he got the idea for his songs, some of his songs from. Then we get the Tiger. I love this short little piece. It's got a nice little beat to it and some nice guitar work. The Echoing Green, a very gentle sound. It's a keyboard and it's a Renaissance sound. Wonderful. London, a really good track. I love the guitar on this, and then you get that shimmery cymbal sounds done with the soft drum, you know, the drums with the big bobbles, as I call them, on the end. Gives it that shimmery sound. Excellent. Night, an orchestral sort of track. Love the guitar work. Another brilliant album. I enjoy playing this one, and I only had it on the other day, and I still love it as much as I did when I first put it on. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, my number one, actually the first album I put on this trilogy, it's from 1977, and it's called The Perilous Journey. We've got Gordon Giltrap on here, Rod Edwards on the keyboards, John G. Perry bass, Simon Phillips on drums, Tony Carr, Malcolm Duncan on sax, Stan Salzman on sax, Henry Lowther on trumpets, trombone, Chris Pine, and Patrick Halin strings leader. First track on here is called Quest. The start of this is really good, and then there's some singing on it, and it's like a round. You know when you used to, as kids at school, you used to sing like London's Burning, Fire, 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 and someone else starts. It's like that. It's absolutely brilliant, and the guitar bits is very sort of thing that John Williams was going to be doing. Really good. The Deserter, I love the solo in this from Gordon. Great drumming on this. Really chilled out track. Pastoral, I love the keyboards on this. Now, I don't know if Rick Wakeman sort of given me any encouragement or support, because it's something that would have appeared on one of Rick's 70s albums. It's a really good track. Then we get Morbio Gorge, very good progressive track, lots of keyboard runs and drums, excellent track. Then we get Heart Song, which is a wonderful piece of music. Been used on so much stuff, but it was known back in the 70s for a holiday programme on Sunday nights, and it's the most popular track by Gordon Giltrap, and it's a song that we've all known for many, many years. Absolutely wonderful track. Then we get Reflections and Despair. After the grandeur of Heart Song, we get this lovely Renaissance piece of music. The keyboards on here is absolutely delightful. Again, Gordon's guitar work is second to none. Cascade, I like how this starts with that nice delicate guitar. Then the drum came in, and then we got this magical keyboard, old-fashioned prog rock. Brilliant track. Then we get to end the album on a track called To the High Throne. It's a melodic song, got some nice guitar work from Gordon, the strings are fantastic, which adds to this track, and it's a good way to end the album. I think this is the best album, of course, that Gordon Giltrap ever did. It's got one of his most popular songs on it. It's an album that you can play from start to finish. All kinds of stuff on here. We've got the rockier stuff, the gentle stuff, the Renaissance, prog. I love this album to bits, and it is now in my collection. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Right, there we go. Hope I haven't disappointed Dave. He'll be highly critical, as he usually is. But I've really enjoyed this, and thank you, Dave, for getting me into a bit more Gordon Giltrap. Okay, that's all for today. But tomorrow we've got a Battle of the Debuts with a twist. Sorry, and we've called it Battle of the Debuts. I've gone solo. So basically, it's about someone's in a band and then they leave, and then they go and put out an album. So what we've done, we're going to put the album, their first album as a solo artist, and the album that the band put out at the same time. And tomorrow we're going to look at UFO and Michael Schenker's first solo project, MSG. So it's UFO against MSG. And tomorrow also is the first show of the Pick and Mix series, and we're going to do a feature every 4 weeks called The Camera's View, where we look at some of these DVDs, VHS, Blu-rays that have never been released as albums, but there's lots to be spoken about these concerts. And tomorrow we're starting off with Status Quo, and we're going to be talking about the End of the Road, both videos that are still only available on video. They have not been put out on DVD yet. So that's for tomorrow, and all there is to say is have a good day, everybody. The sun's out, it's a frosty day here in Northampton, but it's beautiful blue skies, days I like in the winter. So have a good day, everyone. Bye for now.